You can see some of these people walking around, but give it up for all the celebrities you saw today. We're going to go ahead into the afternoon keynote. You guys ready? Yeah, you guys pumped? You guys excited? You fed? Yeah? Let's hear a cheer from everybody. Everybody have hey! That was just mumbling. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage from Tracker. Put it in together for Andy Beal, everybody. Andy!
All righty. Gosh, those lights are bright. Everywhere I go, I always get surprised by how bright the lights are. So I guess a raising your hand question is going to be out of the question for that. Oh, no, wait, I can see people now. Okay, there we go. All right. I appreciate you guys sticking around after lunch. My name is Andy Beal, and I'm going to be talking to you for the next 30 minutes or so. And I am the author of Rept. I know what you're thinking. Oh, my gosh, I've never seen a keynote speaker try and plug a book before. This is really new. Actually not going to try and get you to buy it. I'm going to actually give it away to you. So if you go to reprefine.com, that's the shortened version of reputationrefinery.com, and go to the very bottom, I put an option there for you to download a free copy of the book. So it's like a 30-day guide to improving your personal or your business reputation, and you can get a free PDF version of it. If I happen to say something today that you like, that you think is tweet-worthy, then please use @AndyBeal. If you hear something you don't agree with, or you think I'm a complete idiot, it's @Donald Trump. I'd like to go ahead and answer the biggest question I always get asked whenever I'm at a conference, whenever I'm giving this presentation. I like to answer it ahead of time, get it out of the way, and that is, Andy, where in the world is your accent from? Because if I don't answer that question, some of you are going to be sitting here for the next 20, 30 minutes trying to figure out where in the world I'm from. And so rather than have you pay attention to how I'm saying things as opposed to what I'm actually saying, I'm going to put you out of your misery. I'm originally from England, and I now live in Raleigh, North Carolina, of all places. My beautiful wife is from North Carolina, so that's the reason I live there. However, my accent kind of got stuck midway over the Atlantic trying to figure out which direction it wants to go. So sometimes I sound Southern, sometimes I sound English, and so if I slip in a tally-ho, y'all, you'll know where that's coming from, all right? So, all right, we can move on. Actually, the real question that I'm going to answer is, what exactly is online reputation management? What is it we're going to be talking about? In my first book, Radically Transparent, we dedicated an entire chapter to that. And because it was such a new concept. But we live in a 140-character world now, so I've distilled it down to one sentence, one chapter, one sentence. An effort to increase the number of positive internet discussions while limiting the damage of any negative ones. That's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to spread the positive, whether that be on social media, whether that be on Google, whatever the channel may be, we're trying to increase the positive while reducing the effects of anything negative. Again, whether that be showing up on Google or whether it be something catching fire on Twitter, we're trying to reduce that. Why is this important to you? 83% of businesses will face a reputation crisis that will reduce the value of their company by 20 to 30% sometime over the next 5 years. So 83% of companies are going to face some kind of attack that will devalue their reputation, devalue their company over the next 5 years. All right. 87% of consumers match the reputation of the CEO, the leader of the company, with the actual company itself. So if you're a CEO or executive or somebody that's here, even just in this conference representing your company, there's no difference in the eyes of the vast majority of people between who you personally are and that of your company's reputation. And then even if you sell products offline, 92% of consumers will start a research online to determine your reputation before they step into your store. So that it kind of affects everybody. Now, when the organizers asked me if I'd come and teach you guys everything I know about reputation management, I said, absolutely, I can do that. I've got a 2-day workshop. We can go through everything. We'll make them experts in 2 days. They said, you've got 30 minutes, and they'll just be slipping into a lunchtime coma. So I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. Let's do this. So what I thought we'd do is have a little bit of fun. I'm going to go through 10 examples of companies that have, companies and individuals that are reputation roadkill, and then finish up with a few examples of companies that have done exceptionally well. And along the way, we'll learn some lessons and some tips so that you guys don't make those same mistakes. By the way, I've gone through every single stock image on the internet. This is the only image for roadkill that will not make you bring back up your lunch, so you're welcome. All right, I am going to cut my... Show of hands if you know who Walter Palmer is. A few of you put your hands up, all right? Raise your hands if you know who Walter Palmer, the dentist that killed Cecil the lion, is. Aha! All right, so you've just basically proved what I'm trying to get at here, and that is there is no difference between your personal life, your personal reputation, and your business reputation. If we look at the results here for a Google search, you can see that the poor guy, I mean, the closest we get to his business is his Yelp listing that shows at number 2, and that's fantastic because it's got 233 reviews with just 1 star, and the number 1 image is his head on a trophy. So the lesson that we have here is you really only have one reputation. People used to say, well, you know, I've got my business life over here, and then, you know, some people try and put on their Twitter profile, these, you know, this is my personal account and don't reflect my employer or my company views. Everything that you say or do is you. Offline, online, whatever it may be. So as with Walter here, he didn't make the connection that he had a dental practice where everybody liked him and he was respected in the community, and he thought he could go off to Africa, kill a beloved lion, and that wouldn't affect him in any way. Now, whether or not you agree with what he did, it doesn't matter. The vast majority have spoken, and look what's happened to his reputation. Okay, along those lines, Steve Sarkisian, the head coach of USC football team. Now, he was recently appointed. I don't follow USC a whole lot, but this story kind of came to my attention because he was at a pep rally and a few weeks ago, and he kind of got a little bit drunk. Oh, heck, he got a lot drunk. And when he came up onto the stage, he started dropping an F-bombs in his speech and also started calling out other schools and saying that they sucked. He forgot one of the biggest rules of reputation management, and that is wherever 2 or more college kids gather, there will be a smartphone recording video. And so this got recorded, and it got posted on the internet. He got into a whole lot of trouble, and now he is basically learning our second lesson, and that is you're always being judged. So it's the same thing for you guys here. The cocktail reception, if you have too many drinks, the table looks inviting, and you start dancing on it, that's going to reflect on not just your company, but it doesn't matter that it's in this environment. Whoever you are, whatever you tweet, if you happen to have some kind of rant online, somebody's going to ask themselves, who does that person work for? Okay, so they're going to kind of make that connection, and it doesn't matter what the environment is. So you always have to be on your best behavior. Your reputation is always being judged. Hello? Okay. Number 3. This is Emma, I have the right of way. Definitely knocked a cyclist off his bike earlier. I have the right of way. He doesn't even pay road tax. Bloody cyclists. Okay. I mean, who tweets that out? Well, apparently Emma does. Well, she got the attention of the local police. We have had tweets reporting a road traffic collision with a bike. We suggest you report it to a police station ASAP, if not done already, and then DM us. What's our lesson here? Don't be this guy. Just because you can brag about it doesn't mean that you should. All right. Everything else is PG. This is about as risque as I get, if you know me. When you're the reputation guy, this is about as risque as you get. All right. Now, what is amazing with this is that she put this online herself. And some of the biggest mistakes that we see in reputation management is where someone posted a selfie of them doing something, or put up a photo or video, and you're like, why did you do that? Why did you tweet that out? She actually ended up getting fined. She got points on her license. And her biggest regret, this kind of tells you about her character, her biggest regret was not that she knocked the cyclist off the road, but that she actually tweeted it out. So she at least learned that lesson, but I would say the more important lesson is share the road. It's not just confined to her, though. When it comes to bragging, if you go into a boutique store and you steal a one-of-a-kind dress, my advice is to not post photos on Facebook of you wearing that stolen dress. This woman did exactly that. The owner put out a kind of an alert. You've seen them on Facebook and social media. Hey, this dress was stolen. If you see it, please let us know. Within a matter of hours, someone had tracked down these photos and this person was arrested. So again, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Just because you've got an audience, just because you think that your best friends might think something is funny, or that your core customer base might think something is amusing or entertaining, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should share it, because you never know who the ultimate audience is going to be. Number 4 on our list. Give you a quick chance to scan this, see if you can start spotting. I'll listen for the giggles. All right, some of you have seen it up here. So imagine if you're out of contract with Comcast, you can't afford it. This person could not afford her Comcast bill. So she called to cancel because she's trying to save some money. Well, apparently she didn't realize that there's a script that Comcast has to go through, and you're not supposed to cancel with Comcast. They're incentivized to keep you as a client, but she didn't have a choice. She had to cancel. So when she got her final bill, that was what was on. Now, the problem is with Comcast, it's easy to pick on because there's so many examples. In fact, a friend of mine got what we think is a hoax call because she made a complaint online, and someone left a voicemail from an unidentified number claiming to be from Comcast and told her to go F herself. And she put it on Facebook because she's like, is this real or not? Turns out it probably was a hoax, somebody just trolling. But that element of doubt came because Comcast has a really bad reputation. And it really stems from the fact that they're not training their employees to do a better job. They train their staff for retention, they're bonused on saving accounts, and they'll do whatever they can to stop you from canceling. And they know it hits their bottom line, their paycheck, if you cancel. Well, that's the wrong way to kind of incentivize or train your staff. A lot of your reputation problems are going to come from just one person in your payroll, one employee. They are the face of your company. They are the spokesperson. Whether it's somebody that's at the counter, somebody that picks up the phone, it doesn't have to be the CEO. Anybody that's a touch point with your customers is your reputation. Now, I'm not a big fan of having big guidebooks of restrictions on what you can or cannot say, but certainly give them some guidelines. It starts with who you hire. Make sure you hire people that appear to be kind of credible and have a good moral character. But also, a lot of businesses fail to share their goals, their reputation goals, with their employees. So the employees really don't have a clue as to what it is the company's trying to build. What is the reputation that they're trying to establish? And so if you let them buy into that, and you give them a reason to understand, look, this is how you contribute towards our reputation, they will just do a better job. If you give them lots of rules and restrictions, they'll just freeze and they'll be scared to do anything. I always believe it's much better to try and give as few guidelines as possible, and if an employee makes a mistake, we learn from that and we kind of move on. I'd much rather them take the opportunity to be an ambassador than to be too scared to actually do anything at all. All right, number 5. This one is a little older now, but I update this presentation continually. I just cannot remove this one because it's just too funny. Family Feud. Speaker Boehner, stop letting extremists sabotage our economy. End the Tea Party, shut down now. Don't let Cruz run the U.S. This was tweeted from the Family Feud account. We asked 100 people what they thought of that. And what Family Feud said was, our account was hacked. Earlier post was not from the show. We apologized for it and took it down. Who hacks the Family Feud Twitter account? Is ISIS sitting there going, aha, we're going to get into the Family Feud account? Nobody hacks the Family Feud Twitter account. In fact, nobody bought it. Of those 100 people we asked, it's like, I was hacked is the new I was drunk. Here's what I think happened, and this is our lesson. What I think happened is that, I stepped ahead. What I think happened is that they were logged into the wrong account, right? I mean, it makes more sense that this came from a staff member that was logged into the wrong account, maybe on Hootsuite or some other platform, than it does that they were actually hacked and somebody wanted to make a political rant. I know that this can potentially happen because we have a software called Tracker, which is a social media monitoring software, and we have a Twitter account that different people manage. And one of our staff members, she actually put this tweet out by mistake: girls' night in with the kiddo, we may have cream puffs and ice cream. Pound raising this girl right. That's kind of cute, except that most people think that I'm the one that posts to that Twitter account. So they had visions of me painting my toes and all that kind of stuff. She was like, oh my gosh, should I delete it? Should I take it down? I said, no. I said, if that's the worst accidental tweet we post, we're in good shape. And it kind of goes back to who you hire, right? You need to look at the personal accounts, social media accounts of your employees to get an idea of what they're posting, because they could be polished and buttoned up when they're posting to your official account, but if they're on rants and raves and drunken tirades and stuff on their own account, that's going to come back to you. So, and they could end up being the person that accidentally tweets out, for example, on the Red Cross account, someone tweeted out that it was the weekend and they were off to get a six-pack of beer and get drunk. On the Red Cross account, yeah, and that's not good. So, lesson here is to use the right account and to hire the right people as well. And to get a remote control that works. All right, number 6. Probably familiar with Malaysia Airlines for all the wrong reasons. You know, they've had a number of deadly crashes that were just horrible things that happened. Now, you would think that they would learn from that. You think they'd be very sensitive with everything that they did going forward. You certainly wouldn't expect them to launch a Facebook contest called My Ultimate Bucket List. It blows my mind. How many people actually signed off on this? Because it's a contest that's given away, you know, an actual prize, and it's got to be approved by somebody, and then it gets posted to Facebook. Somebody came up with the image. Didn't anybody think to themselves, wait a minute, this is really not a good idea? So our next lesson is to know your audience. Okay, so you need to understand not only how your customer base is going to respond to something, but also the global audience. Everybody that's going to be looking at this and saying, slapping their head and going, what were these guys thinking? Oh, no, that wants to work twice. All right, number 7, St. Lawrence Medical Practice. This was a sign that they posted in their surgery. If you have any comments or complaints about the surgery, please write to the practice manager. Do not, I like it's big reds, do not use social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, blah, blah. We have a zero tolerance policy. No. Okay? You have to go where they go. You can't dictate where your customers are going to engage with you. You can try and influence it by setting up a Facebook page and being active there, by setting up a Twitter account and being active there and engaging. But if you've got somebody that starts complaining on a particular forum or decides to use LinkedIn or someplace you're not comfortable with, then you can't just ignore it because that's not one of your pre-approved channels for engaging with your customer. You have to understand, we talk about it in the book, we have to understand your centers of influence. Where is it that your customers and clients are going to, where is it they hang out? And you need to have engagement there. You need to have a presence. At the very least, you need to monitor what's being said there. Now, I don't mind at all about you taking it offline. In fact, there's a lot of instances where I recommend to people that, look, if you have somebody that's on a particular channel, Facebook, or they've written, they've left a comment on your blog post because they're really unhappy, then by all means, give them a telephone number and say, look, we want to address this, but we want to kind of take it offline because there's only so much we can say in 140 characters. Please give me a call on this number, or please use this special email address. That works really well, by the way. Like if you call it like Twitter service at FedEx.com or something like that. So you kind of feel like you're getting special, the customer feels like they're getting special treatment. That can diffuse it. But you can't just say, sorry, these are the channels. There was another one with British Airways where a guy, his luggage went missing over the weekend, and British Airways, and he tweeted to them over and over again, and he finally took out a sponsored tweet to try and get their attention. And their answer was just mind-boggling, really. They came back and said that we're sorry, but our Twitter account's not open at the weekends. British Airways flies 24 hours a day, hundreds of cities. Sorry, 5 o'clock on a Friday, we shut down Twitter. All right, number 8. This is out of the UK grocery store, for those of you not familiar. They had an issue where it was discovered that some of their steak products actually had horse meat in it. That was a pretty significant social media crisis for them. And they were on Twitter all day long, fighting fires, trying to let customers know what the issue was, dealing with the press, lots of tweets going out. Okay, they forgot that they had an automated tweet that went out at the end of each day. And so this tweet, it's sleepy time, so we're off to hit the hay. See you at 8 a.m. for more. Off to hit the hay. You can't make this stuff up. Not only did they have an automated tweet that looked really insincere, but the choice of words in it couldn't have been any worse. So the lesson that we have here is be careful with any automation that you do with your engagement. I'm not saying don't ever schedule a tweet or don't ever schedule a Facebook post or something like that. I understand it can be useful to do that and kind of spread things out, use buffer and things like that. But at the very least, you need to be aware of everything that you have scheduled, because you don't want to be the person when there's a plane crash and everybody's focused on that, you have an automated tweet that goes out talking about a happy hour sale that you've got going on between 2 and 4, right? You don't want to be that brand. So be very restrictive in how you automate engagement, and certainly, at least be aware of everything you've got set up and just don't overdo it. And then certainly, you don't want to annoy the reputation guy. Because when Instagram Hootsuite decided to add Instagram functionality, they put a little pop-up in Hootsuite and said, do you want to add Instagram? Sure, yeah, that sounds good. Why not? Boom. What I didn't see was the tiny little checkbox that gave them permission to send this tweet out on my behalf. Right? So, hey, Instagram, I mean, not only is it not cool, but this is Ryan Gosling. I don't want this. I don't want this in my Twitter stream. That's not who I am. I'd never use #friends like that. Seriously. Even England, North Carolina, we don't say friends. Look, I know we put a lot of vowels in the South, right? But friends ain't one of them. All right. Number 9, DiGiorno pizza. Some of you may have heard about this. I'm going to kind of talk you through the story here. So there was a Twitter, meme, but this was a very serious one to bring awareness to domestic violence. And so people were sharing this hashtag, Why I Stayed. And it was to raise awareness, and so you can see some very heartfelt things. So many courageous people sharing their stories. Domestic violence is often a hidden issue. Bring it to light. The second example I have is that she couldn't face the fact that she was just another textbook statistic, that her stepdaddy hurts you, so will hubby, pound why I stayed. DiGiorno decided to do this one. Pound why I stayed, you had pizza. I know, right? You think to yourself, how could they possibly tweet this out? This is so insensitive. How could they possibly have done this? Well, the reason being is that they were watching for trending hashtags. They weren't watching for what was the reason behind the trending hashtags, so they basically got greedy. They decided, hey, we're going to sit on any trending hashtag, and if we see something that we can kind of say something funny or cute about, we're going to jump into the conversation. So you have to research this stuff. Just because something is trendy, just because something is popular, doesn't mean that you can jump on it. You got to think to yourself, well, first of all, is it something sincere and terrible like this? But you've also got to think to yourself, does this fit with our brand? Just because something is popular, Super Bowl or whatever it may be, is this going to allow us to reach our target audience, connect with our customers, sell more product? Number 10. This is a three-way tie. I couldn't decide who to put on, so I put all three on. All right, Brian Williams. He was apparently in a helicopter that got hit by a missile, and it was very scary for Brian Williams, but it just never happened. For 10 years he talked about it, and then he said he misremembered. How do you misremember something? Anyway, okay. Number 2, Steve Renazzi, whatever. Anyway, Steve. So, Steve is a comedian, and you may have seen him on the Buffalo Wild Wings commercials, and I think he's on some other Comedy Central show or something like that. He claimed he was in the World Trade Center, number 1, when the planes were crashed into it. Apparently not true at all. Who makes that up? Of all the things you could make up, it's like, oh yeah, I was in there. He claimed that he was in a meeting and da-da-da. Not true. Perhaps the worst, I don't know. Anybody familiar with Beal Gibson? Yeah, here a couple of years. Thank you for shouting because I probably couldn't see you. For those of the vast majority that don't know, Beal Gibson claimed that she had cancer that she then miraculously cured with her own healthy eating nutritional program and made millions off of selling that program to other people before coming clean and saying she never had cancer. So the lesson here is that big lies are eventually revealed, okay? Even small lies can grow into a big lie, Lance Armstrong, that kind of thing, where you kind of double down. So it's just really not worth embellishing anything or even thinking to yourself, nobody would ever know. This might help our brand if we said that we had donated this or that we had been involved with that. It's really just not worth doing. To be fair, we probably should have seen the signs of Brian Williams. All right, so who's doing this well? We've gone through some roadkill. Let's look at some people that have done something good that has been newsworthy, generated positive buzz. First of all, just doing the right thing. Guys, you are killing me with this remote. It's just like, it makes me look like I don't know what my slides are going to be. Okay, there we go. Air Canada pilot. He diverts the plane to save a pet French bulldog. What happened was, if you're not familiar with this story, this was very recently. Plane was flying from Tel Aviv to Toronto, I believe, and the heating went out in the cargo hold. The captain of the plane knew that there was a pet dog in the cargo hold and diverted the plane to Germany, Frankfurt, I believe it was, so that the animal could be rescued and put onto a different flight. Now, hopefully a lot of people would have done this, but some people, would have either not bothered to know this or not cared, whatever it may be. It cost the airline over $10,000 in diversion and fuel costs, but what did they get? They got 11,400 news results about that one particular story and a lot of goodwill. So just doing the right thing can create buzz. This is my favorite example of the entire keynote. If you have gone into a lunchtime coma, please wake up. This one you don't want to miss. So, let me set the scene for you. It was the World Series last year. The MVP, GM, was going to give him a truck. They had a local Chevy dealer come. I have to read this out just for effect. At Chevrolet, this is the announcement he made. At Chevrolet, we have also been proud of the latest and greatest technology in our truck lineup, which is the all-new 2015 Chevy Colorado. It combines class-winning and leading, technology and stuff, with Wi-Fi powered by OnStar sitting there on the screen. Look at the commish. He's like, what in the world? Aaron Andrews is like, did I leave ESPN for this? It's just amazing. What made it even better is the internet. God bless the internet. This guy looked just like Chris Farley. This meme was born. Technology and stuff. Now, GM, what did they do? Did they kind of like retract and apologize for, he messed up, he was nervous, that kind of thing? Nope, GM did something amazing. Their spokesperson said, he was on message. The truck has technology and stuff. We will use that term and stuff. Okay, it gets better. For an entire day, this was the homepage for Chevy. Awesome. Taking a bad situation where it's very awkward and it turning it into something amazing. Oh, that's great. All right, Kmart. Show of hands, who remembers this campaign? I'm going to say it very slowly. It was ship my pants. Ship. All right, yeah. Brings out the 11-year-old giggler in me too. This is amazing. If you've not seen this, go to YouTube, Google the videos, the adverts that they did for this. Yes, they did exactly what it sounds like. They did that play on words. The great thing is that they actually followed up on this. They actually, if you tweeted about it or commented about it, they engaged with you, thanked you for sharing it. They did, it was just a really well done campaign. It got our attention because it was something exceptional. Now, you've probably heard in this conference, probably at least a couple times, I know it was alluded to earlier, that you need to create good content, right? I don't know about you, but I don't ever wake up in the morning and go to myself, today I'm going to create some really crappy content and put it on the internet. I strive to do good content every day. It's just not enough. You have to do something amazing. You have to do some awesome content, something that's going to make you stand out. And if you can do that, and especially if you can kind of make fun of yourself and just have a little bit of fun and do something out of the ordinary for your brand like Kmart did, then you can get some attention and get some positive buzz. I like to include Solar in here because they're a local coffee shop in Raleigh, North Carolina. You wouldn't have heard of them. But I was looking for a place to have a business meeting. I work from home, so a coffee shop seemed like a good place to do it. So I was researching coffee shops. Came across these guys online, got to their Facebook page, and saw where people were posting to their Facebook page and sharing stories about how great their pumpkin spice mini donuts were. As you can tell, I kind of like donuts. So this got my attention. So I decided to have the meeting there. So we had the meeting. The donuts were fantastic, by the way. And I thought I'd take some home to my wife to share. She could have 2 and I'll have the other 4 or 5. And then, but there was nobody there to serve me. And I'm standing there waiting, and like there's a lot of busy people around me. And you've probably had a similar experience in whatever local business. The owner, goes rushing by, stops, comes back, and asked me if I'd been helped. And I said, no. He said, well, I'm sorry. He said, I'm just about to help somebody with a catering order. I'll have somebody come right back to you to help you. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of neat. Nobody did come back. But it was only another 5 seconds when he did come back and said, I can help you. Sorry for your wait. And he asked me how I'd heard about him. And I told him the donut story, and I was intrigued. He kind of made that connection that I had seen something on social media or people raving about the company, and then I was having this disconnect. Nobody was serving me. He turns to me and says, do you like pancakes? I'm like, you sell pancakes too? And he's like, no, but we have what we call IHOP in a cup. Some kind of maple syrup concoction coffee that they had. So he had somebody make that for me for free and gave me the donuts as well for free because of the wait. That stuck with me. This was a year or more ago, and I tell this story in this presentation because I want to give an example of how a small business with zero budget can just pay attention and do something out of the ordinary, do something to get customers talking about their business. You may have heard that a happy customer will tell 5 people about their experience, and an unhappy customer will tell 10 people about their experience. An unhappy customer that you then make right, you restore the relationship to whatever it was, will tell 20 people. We all have that experience where we were wronged, but we love to tell how they then sent us a $25 gift card to make up for it, or the manager came over to the table and gave us free dessert. We love to tell those stories, and we do. We tell them twice as often as the ones where we were just upset. So you can do stuff as a local business. So that's pretty much it. I'm almost giving up on this remote. Perfection is hard to maintain, but hopefully you will. All righty. All right, so look at this thing. Oh, there we go. Well done. That's been my comedy hour. Thank you for coming out. Woo. All right, so that is actually the end. Tracker.com is a social media monitoring service that we offer a free trial, and we have a free plan. If I can help you personally, or you need to know more about me and my comedy tour, go to andybeal.com. I think we may have some time for some questions, and I think there's a rumor that there's a microphone floating around, but if not, you can just shout out. Might be useful if we have control of the house lights to bring them up so I can kind of see people, but I'll try and look if you have any questions. Okay, yeah, this is that really awkward phase. All right, so let's just kind of do this. Huddle in. If you have a reputation management question for your friend, we can do that, right? So it's not you. We all know, right? We all swear. We know it's not this person. We're not going to look at the person that asked the question. But if you've got a reputation management question for your friend, we can answer that. You all really are asleep. Oh, I've got a question right here. Yes, sir. Yeah. So the question basically boiled down the question to, somewhat of a, should we comment on political stuff? But really the question is, if we're not sure about commenting on a political or social topic, should we? The answer is probably no, don't do it. It goes back to the earlier example. It's just not worth getting involved. There's been times where I've thought about jumping in. Like the closest I would get to political was my Donald Trump quote earlier kind of thing. You just don't know who you're going to offend. It's best to stay out of those hot button subjects unless you are connected to politics in some way. But yeah, generally it's just not worth it because there is a Twitter social media lynch mob on standby 24 hours a day. And someone's just ready there to break that glass and come right after you. So you don't want that hassle. It's the same thing with like an unhappy customer. Do what you can to make them happy because you don't want to be dealing with that for hours or days after day and the fallout, the blog posts, that kind of stuff. A lot of businesses don't factor in the lifetime cost of a detractor, right? So we have the lifetime cost of a customer, but lifetime value of a customer, but the lifetime cost of a detractor. Somebody that if you'd just given them a refund or a gift card, would have just gone away. They would have been happy. But you dug your heels in and said, we didn't really do anything too bad. There's no way we're giving them a refund. They write a blog post. It starts ranking in Google. Your Yelp reviews go down, all that kind of stuff. And now you got a headache, which you could have just taken care of with a $25 refund or something like that. So it's the same for political as well. You might have to shout because I may not be able to see, but no, you are all asleep. That's fantastic. Yes, please. Move to France. No, I don't know. So what advice would I give to Volkswagen? For those of you not familiar, I was reading about this earlier today, actually. That is extending. So Volkswagen kind of basically fudged the numbers on the diesel emissions of their cars, and now it's going to cost they took a hit of like $700 billion or something like that. And now they think it could affect other German manufacturers, and even the gross product of Germany itself is going to be affected by that. So the thing with VW, is they need to come clean. They need to kind of own it. And they've got to demonstrate that this is as big of an issue for them as it is for their customers and for people that they've duped. That this wasn't something that is going to be tolerated. They need to be transparent. So I don't want them to make things up and kind of say, yeah, it was just an engineer that hit the wrong decimal point on something and we fired him. But they need to demonstrate, in a big crisis like this, there's always 3 words to remember: sincerity, transparency. 3 words to remember, I forget them. Sincerity, transparency, and consistency. So you got to be sincere. You got to let people know that this is not something that you even accept and that you truly are apologizing for it. You got to be transparent. How do we get to this situation? What caused this to happen? People need to know. It's not enough that you just apologize. They need to know what were the circumstances that led here. And then you got to be consistent going forward. You have got to demonstrate every single day that you have put the changes in place that will prevent this from happening again. VW is probably hoping that BMW is going to have the same issue and the spotlight will shine onto them, but it's going to be a big cleanup. I think they can come out of it, but financially for the next 5 years, they definitely fall into that 83%. Their value is already down more than 20%. So, thank you for the question. Mike, are we out of time? Oh, we have a question? Yeah. Yeah, I don't. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, the question was like, make sure I understand it. Did Kmart need to kind of put a lot of effort into making sure that? Yep. Yeah. Okay, so was the shit my pants for Kmart? He believes it's potentially dangerous play because in normal channels they probably wouldn't have risked something like that. And was it a risk? And what are the risks associated with that? It was very funny. It wasn't risk. It made us all giggle. I mean, the reaction here when I said the hashtag made people giggle. I don't think I saw anybody get up and leave because they were offended by it. So I think that they somewhat, it was very measured. It was an internet-only campaign, so these ads didn't run on TV. They just ran on YouTube. But when you're Kmart, what's the first word that comes to mind when you think of Kmart, right? Target, Walmart. It's like you are way down there in terms of being top of mind. So they needed to do something that would stand out. And I think it somewhat worked because it was a little bit kind of they took a little bit of a risk, but it was very calculated. I didn't see any fallout from it. But it was something that wouldn't really offend anybody. Unless kind of like, maybe maybe people that have IBS or something like that, I could see them kind of like having hey, don't laugh with that. The person sitting next to you could have that. See, it's like, now I'm going to get into trouble. Andy Beal made fun. I did not make fun of IBS, just so you know. So, but they could have been, the chances of a blowback on that were pretty minor. Most people saw it as a joke. But there are people that so the Pearl Izumi, Pearl Izumi is a shoe manufacturer, and they ran an ad campaign for their shoes basically suggesting that you can't wear them out, that they're so long wearing their running shoes. And that print ad showed a picture of a runner bent over a dead dog because he had outrun his dog. Okay, that reaction. We understand what you're trying to convey there, but that's just not going to work. Somebody didn't think that through. So I think that you do. It's a very valid question, because I think there are some social media scandals that happen where, in the light of day, 99% of people are like, what were they thinking? There's no way that should have been a joke. But I think that, at the time, they thought it was innocent and whatever. And so those are very minor. If in doubt, don't take the risk. Don't risk your brand. Don't risk your reputation for the sake of something that could potentially be controversial. But I think in that case with Kmart, there was no controversy there. It just brought out the child in all of us. They actually did a follow-up one, which you can probably find. Big gas savings. Big gas savings. But if you say it fast enough, big ass savings, it kind of, thank you for that, it kind of, you can see that. Now the key thing with that is, didn't really move the needle. I don't think Kmart really ended up getting a bigger market share, but they did get a little bit of buzz at the time. So, and that's where you kind of have to make sure that there's no disconnect between what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve with your business goals. A lot of people sit around the social media campfire and like, okay, how can we just be popular on social media, right? How do we get a lot of retweets or likes or whatever? It's like, don't be afraid to make money, people, right? You're doing this to make money. I'm not doing this to get likes. It's like, I don't care like whether or not my business page gets 100 likes for a cute cat photo that I put up. I want to get the 1,000 likes for a white paper that we put up that's going to turn into leads, that's going to turn into clients, that's going to turn into actual money. All right, but I think in social media we kind of tend to get too cute for our own good. I must be out of time, surely. Yeah, look, he's got the hook out and everything. So that's it. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.